Yeah, like
I'm usually not a Beyonce fan, but I'm going through a breakup, and that the person didn't cheat, but like the songs are speaking to my heart, the magic, I think it's really
it was
smart.
a lot. Pain, love, forgiveness, right? I don't even know. The family, all that.
It's missing some bodies in it. Like, I don't know why we can't have fat bodies in these music videos.
We discussed that on Monday.
Bodies,
yes.
But it really does. It's pretty phenomenal, I think. In
terms of the missing, you walked right into the conversation that we had on Monday.
Yeah, we were talking about.
What are your thoughts on how could she have interjected fat bodies and disabled bodies? I mean, I think she could have just put them in. Like,
right. Well, there's one image where they're all sitting on like the stoop, right? And it's like most of the people that are sitting there, it's the still for like, I don't know, 10 seconds. And most of the people that are sitting there are skinny and light skinned.
Yeah.
And like there could have been like different bodies in that image, just there, because she's just showing black women, right?
Yeah.
And it's just all one particular person.
In that.
Right.
I mean, the whole 57 minutes?
Hour and
hours
speaks to how much I've watched that.
She went in though. She did. There was team light skin and team dark skin did join forces.
That's true.
In a big way.
They did show
in it, but there were scenes. Maybe she was channeling some of her family vibes or whatever. Cause squad. The squad.
Right.
But yeah, there definitely could have been, and we discussed that on Monday. But in terms of all the talk and the backlash, I just want to say, is it surprising to me, or should it be surprising to me that our white sisters have just realized that being called Becky is a thing?
I think that's hilarious.
Mad late.
One of my friends texted me and said that one of her friends was upset that she found out what it meant. And I was like,
is your friend Lauren?
Lauren, yes.
Yes. I'm not trying to give last names out, but yes. Okay, so I got the same.
Oh, you got the same.
So I got the church text. Yes. Okay, so I was on that.
I was like, okay, no white tears, no.
Right.
This is not
because how did you just take it and make it about you?
Right.
A 2-second moment. Meanwhile, the Becky that she is discussing is not even a white Becky.
Right.
She actually signified that it is not Becky with the good hair. Because that would just be regular Becky.
Right.
Becky with the good hair implies melanated Becky. Right. So they continue to turn this around. So I was on the thread, and I actually realized then on the thread, because she had posted, our mutual friend had posted it on her Facebook, and I was on that thread, and I realized, this is not common white people knowledge.
Right.
They don't know that being called a Becky is a thing.
Right.
So they were like, in terms of the cheating, we can all be Beckys. And I was like, no, we can't. I was like, hold that thought. No, we can't. That's for y'all. I'm just saying, on some educational shit.
Right.
That's for y'all.
Right.
So then I had to explain that then with the good hair means what we said.
Yeah, it's not about.
It's not about right.
But you know what? I'll say this, and this is all I'll say about it.
Yeah.
Is that nobody wants to be called a basic bitch.
Right. And that which is
and Becky is the equivalent to white basic bitch.
There's that.
So they just found out
they just found out.
Yeah. Basically. So I would be upset too.
But
especially if I'm not a white basic bitch. I got a lot of white friends that are not basic white bitches.
Right.
So like, you know what? I'll be upset too.
Think about this, y'all. When we say super basic, I'm talking about you go to the club and they holding each other up, ain't got no shoes on 42nd Street, stepping on glass, vomiting. Like, that's some Becky behavior.
Pumpkin spice latte.
Pumpkin spice latte. I can't handle. I can't. But so my thing was, they just got introduced to being racialized. And now it hurts. And stereotyped, yeah. Right. And I'm like, so this is something you have to deal with today.
Right.
Like, I don't
just
have
today.
Like today.
Just
right. Because you can still get the bomb home.
Not even today.
You know, and your job is Trump tight.
I mean, there's no amount of privilege that's not going to have people being in feelings if they're stereotyped.
Right.
Regardless.
Right.
You know, so let them have it. Let them be upset for a day, because they're not going to be upset for the rest of the week. So just let them be upset for the one day, and we can move on to other things, like continuing to talk about how dope the video was and everything about the video.
Right. Woo, child. It was a lot though. It was a lot. And I was like, way to go and way to turn it around. But then I just, when our mutual friend said that, oh, this person just got introduced to the idea of being racialized. And I was like, oh, I forgot that is often not the case.
For them.
Yeah.
What a privilege.
So, right. What a time to be alive. Which takes us into our next Air Out Wednesday story. Azalea Banks slams Beyonce, Lemonade, and the heartbroken black female narrative. She took to Twitter to air whatever, right? But now here's the thing.
I think she's doing it because she just dropped a video. Because a couple of weeks ago when she was airing out the Twitter dude, she had dropped a mixtape. So I think that's her new formula, which is ridiculous. Why don't you just put out some good music?
So now we know, and now I'm less inclined to click through, but I will because we hear, right? Because we hear, and maybe y'all didn't click through, I'm gonna do it for you. So yeah, she got super upset, and she said this heartbroken black female narrative is, you keep trying to push, is the antithesis of what feminism is. You've been singing about this nigga for years and he's still playing you. That's not strength, that's stupidity. And it's not what the national black woman's conversation needs right now. More pain and suffering in the face of a man. You keep crying over a man and perpetuating that sad black female sufferance. And it's not good for what we're trying to accomplish here. Just 6 months ago, you told every black girl in the industry to bow down. Now you want to stick up for black folk. LOL. I've yet to hear Beyonce speak on these issues. She made a song about big noses and hot sauce, then put up a tour charging $1,300 to people she knows damn sure can't afford that. I want to hear her speak just to make sure that it's real. The Oshun tribute was cute, very cute. But were you just trying to be America's most convincing white woman? What happened? Ooh, child. I need to take a breather before I continue. Here we go. Queens are supposed to lead. They don't step on the spirits of the girls who come after them, then to just try to take that same spirit and then seem as if they came up with these ideas on their own. That's when you get the evil eye on you. You can't sell your soul then try to get it back. LOL. That's just not how it works. Okay, blah blah blah. She says she's not a sister, she's a poacher, she's a thief. Sisters don't steal, sisters share. I've been pumping African traditional religion witchcraft for a long time. She was just singing Jesus Say Yes. You trying to embody Oshun as a prop for your personal gain. Let us see you. Show us your tools, your soperas, and your prendas, whatever. I need to see. She continues and continues and continues. But basically, then she says, Lemonade is amazing. I need to repent. This is so good. Oh my God, exactly what pop culture needs.
So what the fuck was you talking about before?
So this is what she said Saturday after watching it, and then this is what she said yesterday when it comes out that she had something dropping.
It's so layered. Like her response, people's response to her response.
Right.
What she's saying is valid.
Yeah.
And you can critique art and what, her opinion is her opinion. And it's coming from someone who doesn't have as much push or pull in the industry. Right. Like someone who's like not really regarded as someone that's like really popular.
Right.
So I feel like if she were, I don't know.
I feel like she wanted to be the one.
Bridge, and
she wanted to be the one.
That's what it sounds like. She wants to do that, and she doesn't have the platform to do that, or the pull to do that, or the privilege to do that, and then she's upset.
And so, also, like,
I feel like she should just say that.
I think
she just said, I wish I was the one.
Right.
I think though, people have to confront what they've done. Because she came out, like, she hit the ground running. Azalea Banks could have been a lot of things. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And industry is fucked.
Yes.
But also the way we behave within industry and the things that we do to people. Mm-hmm. Now all of a sudden we don't have that same kind of burst that we have. Because people's just fucking with her.
Yeah.
But she constantly is antagonizing everybody, like even her fans.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when you attack everybody, how many chances do you get to rectify that? And when you never say that, you know what, I'm wrong, or maybe I'm a little fucked up.
Yeah.
Because people was with you. People were riding with you when you were crying on the station because you said real valid shit.
Right.
But you're so hurt, you're hurting everybody fucking else.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And also, like
you make poor decisions. Like that shit doesn't make any sense. And if your attempt to now get light on your new projects is by saying hateful shit to people,
because now we know the pattern and now we don't believe
like,
you. Because
right.
She's not the only one that's brought out the stuff about the Oshuns and the spiritual stuff and but you know what? people are discovering it.
Yeah.
Because of that, people are.
But the
and
other thing
also,
is, how do you make a decision? This is what someone is doing.
Right.
Like Beyonce, you know what? Like I said, and I don't like to ever preface any conversation about saying I've never been a fan of. But I never fuck with Beyonce. But I'm not gonna sit here and deny when something is great, and I'm not gonna sit here and act like I think she's saying that she's doing all this work.
Yeah.
The fact that you employ this many people and that you pull these people is because you want them to be fucking seen. You don't have to fucking sit there and say that
I
shit.
got an interesting
You know what I
comment
mean?
in the chat room. Shout out to Dominican Jesus. He said, we all know that girl, the good-hearted troublemaker. If you know him, you love him, hence the diehards, but soon it gets to this, tiring. I would change that to say we all know that person, because I know a couple of any type of good-hearted troublemaker doing the most, and you just be having to take a breath after and then just tell them to sat it down.
Sit down.
You know? Because, like, it's not like there's no facts in there.
Right. Some of it is like, you know, this conversation of what black women need right now, or
Right.
we're not supposed to be talking about our pain, or like that shouldn't be celebrated just like our joy. We're supposed to be
Right.
happy all the time. Beyonce has been happy for years.
Yeah.
This is the first time that she's ever been angry.
Right.
That's real. Thank you, Beyonce, for doing that.
So why
Like,
can't she do that?
Right. Why do black women need to be in some particular way, Azalea Banks?
Right.
Your music
But
is
you're
not
always
always
angry.
Right. So
You're
what are you
always
talking
cussing.
about?
And you can't tell, I can't tell you, Erica, you can't tell me what I need to
Right.
be saying
Right.
or feeling or expressing
Right.
as a fellow black woman.
It's all white supremacy because we're always police. We're always like smile all the time.
Say
Smile.
that.
That's
Say
essentially
that.
what she's saying in there.
I just
Yeah.
can't. I
Nobody
can't
has
really
time.
take that from somebody
wanted-
on record who's talking about cutting people and fucking people up
Right.
and all this shit.
She's
Like,
just
really?
upset. She's in her
Because
feelings.
I feel like she's
in
right
her
up there
feelings.
with Pierce Morgan, who
Oh,
came and
God.
said what he felt he needed to say. Basically, they said the same thing. Dear Beyonce, stay in your happy, light-skinned,
Stay
not
in your
scary black woman box. She wanted to be, let me be the magical, scary black woman that brings the witchcraft to the
Could have
people.
been
Right.
that.
But you know, and then he just was doing some white people shit. But
It's like Azalea Banks, do you want to be underground artist or do you want to be a popular artist?
Decide.
Because because
Decide.
it looks different.
She
It
be
looks
fucking
different,
with
right?
ooh, child, you know what?
And you know she got cases pending for beating niggas up in the club and shit. So
Good times.
that's another.
So there's that. So there's that. So check this out.
Shout out to Aesop Ferg, you know,
Ooh, we're here.
doing creative shit.
And that was our earlier, we did a little news you could use. We wanted to ease into things. And actually, you know what? We'll do chat room check-in later. We'll just go with this.
Time is flying.
Time is flying, and we have our sex ed educator.
Teach me
And
about sex.
you're like super official. Like you got papers.
I'm ready.
Oh,
I'm ready.
papers.
Teach me about
Yeah.
sex. I'm ready.
I'm about to get papers.
You about to get papers. What are
what's
you?
up.
What kind of papers are you getting?
I'm getting my Master's of Education in Human Sexuality.
Yes.
Dope.
In a
Yes.
And I like your
May
loafers.
20th.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Happy graduation.
Thank
That's what I'm
ya.
talking about.
Thank you.
So we invited you here, and shout out to Dope Girl Fresh who connected us, because y'all remember
Makes sense.
Dope Girl Fresh
shout out to
from Hip Hop is
Hip Hop is for
and
lovers.
It's for lovers. I got
Yeah.
like a lot of names in my head right now because we about to go hip hop on them. And they talk about the sexuals a lot. So
Yeah, that was-
they put us together.
Good show.
So here's the thing, family. Afrika Bambaataa, we've been wanting to talk about this for a long time, and things happen. So we're here together today to discuss,
We're
and then
gathered
Erykah
here
Badu
today.
said some things, and we
Yeah.
actually discussed some of the Erykah Badu statements, and
Yeah.
we might circle back to that today if that's cool. So there are allegations out, at the very least, by 3 to 4 men that allege that I'm using the jargon because you have to use the jargon, right? They've alleged that Afrika Bambaataa had molested them at some point in their younger years. And they're grown-ups now, and one of them is like, he was like a committee member, like he's a grown-up now. He's done things with his life, and this is not a new thing that he said. This is something that he's brought up over time. No one heard him.
And he has a book, right?
And he has a book.
2014.
And I don't think that he stands to gain anything
No.
from this, or any of the people, because that's the first thing that people ask.
Well, you know what? I think that the one thing he may gain from it, and not a personal terrible gain, but in a good way, is getting it off his chest, having people know, and just airing that out.
Right.
That's the only benefit he really can get, or helping other people that may be abused or are abusers or whatever, helping reform some people.
Oh, man. Oh, his name is Ronald Savage.
Yeah.
And he claimed that Bambaataa forced him to engage in oral sex when he was 15 years old. And then following that account, following that most recent telling, because he's told that story before, 3 other men came out and said, they didn't say what, but they said that they were molested, allegedly, by Afrika Bambaataa. And now there's a lot of different feelings, because this is different than how we usually deal with women getting assaulted and girls getting assaulted, and there's that whole male ego thing. Then there's hip hop, right? That whole thing, and then there's victimization and survivoration. I'm not making up words here, but there's like mad layers and levels to this.
There's a lot.
So there's
homophobia in this.
There's homophobia in this. Say that.
Pedophilia.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
So Bambaataa replied recently. He said it's a lot of. He went on the Ed Lover show, which is very interesting, and he said it's a lot of lies. It could be me today and you tomorrow. I completely deny all accusations that being
but
put
it's you, nigga.
against your brother, Afrika Bambaataa. He accused Savage of using sensationalism to gain publicity. End quote.
Okay.
And then. In another quote, so he said, by all accounts, Mr. Savage, please stop lying to the public and openly apologize to Afrika Bambaataa, Universal Zulu Nation, and all the children worldwide. Oh, this is what Zulu Nation said in a statement. Right. Not only have you disrespected morally, spiritually, and emotionally, but now there are serious legal issues that come into play as well. The Universal Zulu Nation works with victims of child and sexual abuse and takes these allegations extremely serious. But I want to say that the Universal Zulu Nation came out and gave a statement that supposedly was a blanket statement for everyone, and then other members of the Universal Zulu Nation, and many of those are family and friend to our immediate Bondfire Radio community, and they were like, no,
get the fuck out of here.
You don't speak for me.
Right.
This was very hasty. It was like this thing dropped on Monday, and then Tuesday somebody was like, no.
That didn't happen.
That didn't happen. Nope. Right. You can't, denounce our leader. Nope. Right? So they took their time. Shout out to Cutting Candy. Shout out to Rosa Clemente. Shout out to MCK Swift. Shout out to all of our peoples that took their time. They got together, and then they came back with an open letter. Yeah. Which I will get into.
That's a heavy ass letter, boy.
Yeah. From the other Universal Zulu Nation, and they didn't leave the nation. They still believe in the Zulu Nation. It is still an entity that is very helpful and powerful. But if you know what I'm saying, they just want to
make the separation, man.
They have
Human
to make
beings
the
do
separation.
terrible things, you know.
So I'm gonna read this, and then we'll all respond.
Now, if you're trying to buy the WB, they want to take you down.
And here are their hashtags, and I love these hashtags. Hip hop breaks the silence. Hashtag movements not idols. This is written by Rosa Clemente, Cutting Candy, and Julie C. You can reach them at reachhiphop@gmail.com. And here we go. Hip-hop culture, founded in the Bronx in the early 70s by black and brown working class youth, has always existed to facilitate a reclamation for space for the silenced majority and marginalized communities in the face of social, political, and economic oppression. Hip-hop has always embodied the core values of peace, love, knowledge, and unity. Pioneers of hip-hop, such as Afrika Bambaataa, promoted these values and saved countless of lives, not only by providing a platform for connection and expression, but also in their work mediating disagreements between street organizations and artists. This inclusive, culture-centered approach to empowerment, self-expression, and conflict resolution decreased violence and proved to be a healing and transformative for communities, influencing millions across the globe and creating an echo chamber for the unheard. It is with this legacy in heart and mind that we, practitioners, artists, activists, organizers, and scholars of hip-hop are asking our communities to join us in acknowledging all the victims that have stepped forward to tell their truth. We thank pioneer Paradise Gray for inspiring this challenging conversation. We recognize Ronald Savage and Hassan Campbell for their brave decision to come forward publicly. We know that even in 2016 America, victims are often the ones blamed, shunned, and bullied. We also acknowledge that the other men who have come forward in the last days. As those that love hip-hop, many of us unabashedly know that the culture of hip-hop saved our lives, and we must work together to evolve in this difficult time. It is first and foremost our moral and spiritual imperative, but also an extension of upholding the values that Afrika Bambaataa himself has inspired in many of us. The co-authors and signers of this statement believe that up to this point, the statements offered by Bam and his attorney and statements issued unilaterally by individuals on behalf of the Universal Zulu Nation have not reflected these values. I'm going to read that again. The statements issued unilaterally by individuals on behalf of the Universal Zulu Nation have not reflected these values. Instead, by falsely claiming to represent the perspective of thousands of Zulu members, affiliates, and identifiers with hip-hop culture globally, those statements are effectively silencing the hip-hop community. We also reject the deflection narrative that this is a COINTELPRO-like conspiracy, as it is an injustice to those who have and are experiencing true state oppression. So in the interest of healing and truth, we as members of the hip-hop community, many of whom are survivors of abuse, are calling for an end to the silence. We offer the following guiding points as we work together to build a hip-hop intersectional framework. Okay, I'm just going to read the points and then, because there's paragraphs under each one. The points are: build movements, not structures. The second one is dismantle rape culture. The third one is end the cycle of abuse. The next one is journey into the hip-hop millennial rebirth. And then what is next? What you could do is sign the petition, Hip Hop Speaks Out, to support the victims or / survivors. Go and talk to them on their hashtags, Hip Hop Breaks the Silence, Movements Not Idols. Go on the Tumblr page, at Reach Hip Hop, and just know that no one is speaking unilaterally on anyone's behalf. There are people that feel different ways about things. So, okay, we're back. And I just wanted to read that statement because it's totally different than the other statement. They threw the COINTELPRO conspiracy shit out there.
That's why I said that shit about WB,
you know,
the WB.
Yeah.
That was that whole.
So I put it on my page, or I discussed it on my page in reference to like connecting this to the Erykah Badu statements, which the Erykah Badu statements have nothing to do with rape. Per se, because people came for me, right? They tried it.
Yeah.
To me, it does. But
absolutely.
I'm saying it as a factual thing versus this, right? Because people tried it.
Right. Right.
But it's part of the thinking, right? The thought process, and that's part of the thought process that we have to teach the victim. And oftentimes the victims are girls. So we have to teach those people how to not be raped.
Oh, maybe to deal with it, like
or deal with it.
One seems to be saying.
Which we'll get into after that.
Deal with it.
So what, Erykah, what are your thoughts after hearing some of this?
Well, my thoughts about the initial statement where they came out and they said, that it's morally and spiritually wrong. I think that's where I stopped and was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
What are you saying? What is morally or spiritually wrong about someone coming forward about someone allegedly, I say allegedly because that is the stage that it's in, about abuse that happened to them. So why are we saying that? And then I thought about like how this is two cisgender men like talking about like being abused by another cisgender man.
Right.
So it's what you're saying is that you're saying that Afrika Bambaataa likes men. But the thing is that's not what this is about.
And that was more shameful in the conversation.
Right.
That was more shameful than molestation.
Right.
And I was mad confused.
Right, and then you lose, then immediately you lose what's the focus here. Now the focus is about something else. It's about your hateful thoughts rather than me dealing with that this person was abused as a kid.
Yeah.
And now it's coming forward to talk about that, which again, like you said, in 2016 is still an issue, is still hard to do. So I don't understand why, they literally shamed him.
Yeah.
Like, why would you do this against the Zulu nation? Right? Who's thinking about them?
No.
Nobody.
People are thinking of, and then
But there's also the point too, this came out with Cosby allegations, is that people are lying.
Yeah.
Or that they do it so they could get publicity.
Yeah.
People, there's like 1%
Who
of
the
people
fuck
that
wants
lie
that
about
kinda-
stuff like that.
Yeah.
1%.
Who wants that kind of publicity?
Right. And the thing is like, the thing is like, oh, this could happen to you. Like, no, it's actually not happening to me.
Nah,
it's happening to you.
No.
So you need to deal with
Right.
it. Right.
So
The
why
thing-
is it happening to you?
The thing with him, which is really interesting, and like, first of all, it's his word against other words of other men, right? And I'm sitting here like, well, there's no evidence other than their stories, and what happened that we don't know, right? And it's like, where you go from here. But I also think about the fact that for years and years and years, people have been saying shit about this man. So it doesn't come to, it's not surprising to me, and I believe them.
Right.
Like, I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Basically it's like the whole.
I just believe it. It doesn't make sense. Nobody is trying to fucking get you.
It's the hidden story that's in every family, right? Like,
Yes.
yo,
Yeah, this shit
something
on,
is
fam.
floating around, but long as I don't
Right.
like no,
Right.
and there's nothing that like. Basically, long as you don't tell me with your own mouth,
Right.
I don't have nothing. I can't. I'm good. I don't have nothing to say. Maybe Johnny told Jimmy, told Barbara, told Sally, told me, but long as no little kid comes up to me and says it, I just
Right. We're all sitting at the Sunday dinner table.
Mind my business.
Quiet,
Right.
Next to the molester.
exactly.
Yeah. It happens all the time. Like, it's not, that's real.
And I just want to say again, and I want to give these little reminders, all of our conversation is going to be umbrellaed with the allegedly.
Right.
Right? So whatever we're saying, put allegedly in front of it, y'all, because I know. And another thing that bothered me, and actually maybe we should play this clip and come back. And shout out to Cutting Candy for being super open, especially on social media.
Yeah.
About all this and about the work that they're trying to do. And I know she has 2 little children at home that, you know what I'm saying? Like, her attention could be elsewhere.
Yeah.
But she knows, and she's a survivor of similar things. So she's doing the work with other people to, and she remains a part of Zulu Nation
Yeah.
and appreciates, you know what I'm saying?
Because you can make a separation. Your
Right.
whole organization doesn't go to shit because the fucking the founder is fucking terrible person.
Right.
Right.
You know what I mean?
There are
Because if
good
that was the
people
case,
there.
then we couldn't live.
Right.
What?
You can turn him. I told you, Manchurian Candidate. The people that we that we get our motivation from, they coming out the woodwork with just saying
Yo,
outrageously,
what was
amazingly crazy shit.
Okay, I can't even disseminate. First of all, the chat roommates, y'all are on it because y'all were all like, wait, what?
Son.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Shelly B said, wow, truly disappointing.
Yeah.
Yo, everybody is like, Aura said, nigga, no. And I don't even type the word nigga, but this shit, no.
Right.
Yo, she said, okay, there's the fold of doing fantastic shit versus the personal shit, but dude, no, you should not have said any of this shit.
You shouldn't have
so
said shit.
basically, do not talk to any of his friends and shit because he hangs with questionable dudes and shit. Mama 30 said, I'm sorry, that's not okay to me, and it's really disappointing to hear that.
Yeah.
Butasha said, it's outrageous. Queendom said, F out of here. Okay, so.
And like, what is he talking about?
What is he
Is
saying?
he talking about like he knew that Afrika Bambaataa was a molester, or is he saying he knew Afrika
What is he
Bambaataa may
saying?
have dated men like
What is he
consensually?
saying?
Like, what are you saying?
He's not saying anything.
Right. It doesn't
And
make
it's
any
just-
sense.
and it
That
makes
was
him
some
sound even
roundabout shit.
more
Right. That's why it's
outrageous.
twofold, and like the way
Yeah,
that they're
it's too
talking
much.
about this is like combined.
And
Like,
then whoever goofy doofy ass interviewer, which I recognize the
doofy.
voice, but I don't give them shine.
You know who that is?
Who a goofy doofy ass? I don't want to talk about it.
Tell
but
me who that is
He was like,
afterwards.
I'm uncomfortable. Let's change the subject.
Right.
But that's the point.
Right.
To be uncomfortable.
right. So push more.
So,
What are you saying?
so what
sir?
was that?
Right.
So what was that? And I just on behalf, because thank you again.
Why I don't get blessed with opportunities to ask a question?
Yo,
Because I'm finna ask you a question. You're gonna have to answer that,
that was
shit.
Right,
crazy. So
You're gonna have to answer this question. or
Cutting
you're gonna have
Candy-
to walk out like Birdman. Like,
Respect it.
Respect. Cotton Candy wrote this on her personal
Man, I
Facebook
can't.
wall, and I just feel like this is just everything. She said KRS-One's recent video about the allegations against Bambaataa and how, in summary, he pretty much is saying it's none of our business, aka silencing again. But let me tell you, this is not a BAM issue or business. This is all of our responsibility. This is a community responsibility. This is the work we all need to do to prevent and end sexual violence. We also need to talk about how there's a culture of denial happening in favor of power, which contributes to and perpetuates rape culture. The denial is upholding white supremacy, patriarchy to continue. There's a whole lot of power to give up, positions, titles, inner circle, organizations, damaging friendships that will enable one another to continue the violence. People are holding on to all this power to attain and further reclaim big word, whiteness and white supremacy, patriarchy in our very own people of color communities by being in denial, not believing the victims / survivors, silencing, shaming, and victim blaming, acting like it doesn't exist or it doesn't happen, or further harming. There's a lot more here, and we just want to get back to our conversation. So I think it all, not to say it all boils down to, but a lot of this boils down to who gonna believe you though?
Right.
Who gonna believe you though? Who
Right.
gonna believe you versus me, who's done so much? And I've sat here and even said that, even in terms of the Bill Cosby thing, right? Nobody's gonna take A Different World and the Cosby Show away from me, right?
Right.
I still have those things.
Right.
Those are things I enjoy, that
Yeah.
I continue to enjoy
Right.
because, you know what? Like, those are things that I have in my life that I need to, I need to enjoy. But I'm able to know that Bill Cosby, the sexual predator, is a real and true,
Right.
allegedly, right? Because whatever.
Because
not
you
even
can't
saying
take these things to
allegedly
court anymore.
You can't.
Right, and neither
No,
can
they're not.
these, neither can
But-
Savage and the other victim.
yeah, victim.
Right? Like, they can't take them anywhere. So, what?
5 apparently to count. There was one that recently came out.
Yeah.
Wow.
So 5 to count, and even 1 is too many.
Right.
Yeah.
This is out of control. And the way, it's just more, like she's saying in her post, like, it's more white supremacy, patriarchy, but it's also like how we do not talk about sex at all.
At all.
On
Any
any
type of-
level.
any type of sex.
At all.
Consensual,
No sex.
STDs, nothing.
Nothing. It's like, no, like, we are not going to have these conversations. It is, I literally have to push into schools to actually have this work in schools. Like, principals will argue with me. I've had principals tell me, oh, we don't want to have a vulva in color.
Okay.
Like,
Well,
with
what color
like,
is it
what?
supposed to be?
I mean,
This was a cisgender woman too. She wanted it to be
Okay.
in black and white because it was less realistic.
Well-
Like, what?
What?
Like, this is
Can-
damaging because people aren't able to actually talk about their fantasies. They're not able to talk about what feels good for them or
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
pleasure.
Oh,
They
no,
don't
that's
have
not
the
right.
words for it, right?
I got a question for you,
Yeah.
though. Is a lot of this rooted in some religious shit?
The thing,
Because I wonder about like this whole pushback on like the sexual education, the STDs and stuff like that. As we talk about some of these Midwestern countries, it might
Right,
as well be
sure,
different countries
sure,
in
sure,
fucking 50
sure.
different countries. That
Right.
a lot of the things that we're discussing have a lot to do
Rooted
with
in-
some religious shit.
right? I mean, our culture is seeped in
Yeah.
Christianity
Because sex is everywhere.
right, it's everywhere.
But it's not in an educational space.
Right.
So
It's
we can make
in
money off of
everywhere.
sex. We
Right.
can traffic people.
Right.
But we can't talk about having sex.
Let's talk
Right,
about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's everywhere. I mean, I definitely think that religion takes
shit is
the
fucking
case,
crazy.
and that's real, and it's just our moral standing around
Yeah.
sex and sexuality as well. It's just where we stand. It's like, oh, it's appropriate for a 21-year-old to talk about what feels good for them, but not an 11-year-old.
Right.
Like, or hey, mommy, like this
And-
person touched me on
And if an 11-year-old is telling you what feels good to them, now it's time to talk about, okay, how do you know?
right.
What the fuck you mean that feels good to you?
Yeah, right.
But like not like what the
Yeah.
fuck is it mean? Like, where'd you learn that?
Where-
You know what
Exactly.
I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
let's
yeah.
investigate
Let's
because
discuss.
oftentimes we shame. Like,
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
some of these men are coming forward now because they were actually shamed when they tried to come forward when
Right.
they were
I'm
15.
sure they were.
You know, like
And then, speaking on the homophobia situation of the homophobia in our communities, and as far as this thing right
Yeah.
here, this thing, folks, want to come on my timeline and discuss how well these guys are just they just are saying that because they didn't want the stigma of being called gay or fruity, and I'm like, wait, so they rather
What is
be
that?
called that they rather be
That
known
doesn't
as
even
people
make
that were
sense.
molested? Like,
I'm sorry,
which
but
one?
someone that's gay does not molest 15-year-olds. Do you get what
Right.
I'm saying?
Yeah, we need to get past
you
that
need to,
bullshit,
just,
too.
really,
Yeah.
unpack that right now.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
just because Afrika Bambaataa is a cisgender man and he molested, allegedly, 15-year-old boys, like, that doesn't necessarily make him gay.
But see,
Right.
the thing,
His
here,
acts.
now,
No, but
here's
they're
the-
trying to say
here's
that-
the problem, though. Now, this is something
They're
that
lumpy.
they've been trying to like keep out of anything. The fact that he actually is gay, or he does like men. So it fucks it up for any gay person. Because if you are gay and you're doing this shit, they go, oh, see, there you go. That's exactly what they do.
Right.
That's what this shit
Right.
stems
Right.
from.
Right.
Before the allegations of that, they've been saying that.
But then it goes
You know
back
what I
to
mean?
people not being able to talk about sex.
Exact-
Afrika
at all.
Bambaataa not ever
Nope.
being able to say, hey, I'm gay.
Yeah.
And that being an okay thing to say. He's just been shamed for it. So then they do grimy shit
Yeah.
behind closed doors.
Fucking-
And then it impacts people.
Yeah.
Like,
Bruno in the chat room said the problem with hip hop is they mix gay with pedophilia, right? And
Right.
that's not
and that's
even
not a
just-
hip hop thing. That's America.
That's a thing.
right.
That
I mean,
is
what's
the thing.
happening in North Carolina
Yeah.
with restrooms right now? Like, that's
Yeah,
all
that's America.
transphobia and pedophilia. Like, how are those two things lumped? They're not.
Yeah.
I was working at a place, like, quick 2-second segue story, just to show you that this is not just hip hop. It was a sleepaway camp, and that was a really great experience. And one of the young ladies, I was the camp nurse, and their parents, this is sleepaway, so they got, this is us, we're the parents. One of the young ladies was having some difficulties in her private area, but the first, I wouldn't know unless you told your counselor. She told her counselor, and her counselor at the time was identifying as a lesbian, right? Then they told me, and I was handling it because I was the camp nurse and I was handling it, right? I was like, okay, so here's what we need to do because first we need to call your mom and find out things. And is this normal? Like, does this happen in her family? Like, does this happen to y'all? And then we're going to figure out what your mom wants to do and then we'll do it, right? We'll take you to the doctor, the hospital. We'll have you sit in a warm bath, something. And it was so funny, I didn't even think about it. I had zero thoughts in my mind until I got called down to the office. And the office people were like, the people in charge, they were like, so, and once I heard,
No.
right? And they kind of, a roundabout way, asked me, why was that something that the counselor was interested in? And I was like,
God.
and I had to, and then like my whole shit. And I was, this was a long time ago, so I was not knowing as many things as I know now. So I was very lost in that moment. I felt there was a spotlight on me because I didn't know what to say because I didn't have the words for it because it didn't even come to my mind. I thought that another adult was telling me that a child was in pain and I had to go help them because I'm the camp nurse, right? And then these other adults were like, so let's talk about this real quick. And I was like, wait, what?
Wow.
So that shit runs through people's minds that gay equals pedophile. Like, this is like some shit. This is not no hip hop shit. This is some shit in general.
Everywhere.
And I had to actually say, this was a concern that the child brought up, and we are handling it. And I don't think anything. I think the counselor is a nice stand-up person, and she didn't do nothing but bring me this child.
Right.
And I was like,
And her sexual identity has
had
nothing to do with it. Right?
Yeah.
And neither does mine, because guess what?
Yeah.
Women molest little girls too. Like,
oh my God.
who are not gay. So, like, what in the world? I don't know.
What you call it was molesting her sister.
Who?
Remember who's it? The comedian? And the
and then
actress?
she tried to say it was on some
Exactly.
experimentation.
Exactly.
What's her name?
So there you
Oh,
go.
you're talking about
Girl from Girls.
Yes, from Girls.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
See,
Yes.
we don't even remember people's
I don't
names that
remember.
we don't have to remember.
And then
remember her name.
and that conversation disappeared.
Right.
Right, it's gone. I mean, personally, I'm a sexual survivor of sexual assault survivors from another woman.
Yeah.
Right.
So, like, to talk about these things, and this person wasn't out as a lesbian, they identified as straight. So, like, these things are not lumped together, people.
Yeah,
Like,
they
they're
really aren't.
very distinct.
People do shit.
Right,
You know what I mean? Young people do a lot of shit.
right.
Do you mind if we talk for 5 extra minutes?
Yeah, man, let's
Because we
talk
need to
some
do
more.
the where can we move forward tip. You know what I'm saying? And it's hot out here, man. So, I had to bring the low key instrumental back. Erika, how are you? How you feeling? You all right?
My feelings.
Yeah.
My feelings
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
I mean, do you think that part of it is? I mean, it's a lot for us, and we, and that whole thing with the clip and that boo fool goofy ass interviewer that was uncomfortable,
Right.
and decided that was his cue to move on,
right.
So we spent a good amount, about an hour or 45 minutes talking about something very uncomfortable,
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm checking in with you,
Right.
You know,
I'm here.
Yeah. See. Look, y'all. Checking in doesn't have to be a weird thing. We talked about checking in and
No, it's
consent
important.
and stuff.
Self-care. Thank you.
Self-care.
I appreciate you.
Word.
Appreciate you. So, as far as being, a sex educator and talking to people and talking to kids, first, can we address how can we make it a safe space for all of our children to come talk to us?
Can make it a safe space by making sure that you are not going to shame what they say.
Yeah.
So, like, if you are constantly shaming your kid and sometimes kids don't come to you about things that are directly related to sex, but they'll come to you about things that are related to gender. So if there is, let's say, a girl that's like, oh, I really want to play football today with all the boys.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that's what boys do. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
They're not necessarily going to want to come to you about stuff.
No.
You continue to do that, and that's usually more than that.
And
we
whether
tell
or not
little
you
boys
let
not to
them do
cry.
it. Yeah. Oh,
right.
that.
So, like,
That
all
kills
of
me.
this shaming leads to, like, oh, I can't talk to, my parent or my chosen family about so-and-so because they're always shaming it. It's wrong, and it's already in our society that sex is wrong at a particular age anyway. So I would say just don't shame what they want. Don't shame their behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't have to, like, I just want to be clear because we're all different, right? We're all different people. We have different sets of beliefs. Like, that might not be your thing, right? Okay, don't go play with the boys because that's boy things. But there's got to be another way, right? Because that could be your view. So that, and I get that.
Right.
There's got to be another way to express that without killing the spirit.
Right.
Of a young person.
Right.
And I think that's just in general.
Right.
Spirit killing is rampant in our society.
On so many levels, it's terrible.
Oh my God. So what can we do now as a community of adults that love hip hop, that grew up with this, that look at Bambaataa and other figures in KRS and as people that they are the teachers. They are the teachers. And how do we move forward? I mean, Cutting Candy and all the other folks really, really said it.
It's doing things like that.
Yeah.
Like, you respect these artists, but then you also still speak out when it's inappropriate and it's violent what they're saying. And you don't traffic in those conversations. Like, so often I get it, like, people say, like, homophobic and transphobic things, but, like, we have to stop doing that because it just perpetuates this, like, this violence. It's violent. People are dying because people believe these things. I'm not just saying that. Like actually this year, there's been about 20 plus deaths of black trans women. So, like, this is not like
it's not like
I'm not just giving you food vomit. Like, this is really or thought vomit. This is really real. So just not trafficking those conversations and then really, like, critiquing art. Like, we were talking about Beyonce earlier, and like, there's, like, this protective coat around her. Like, if you want to critique what she's saying, critique what she's saying. Like, critique her art, critique what other artists are saying, critique the allegations that come out. Like, that's okay.
Critique it and investigate it.
Right.
Like, all of this stuff.
Critique with some knowledge, though.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't make a statement about, like, what she's doing if you don't know about the shit that she's doing.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Real.
Like, you can't be like, oh, well, that's some African god. Well, do you know who the fuck the African god is that you saying she ain't?
Right.
Which
Probably
one?
not.
You really can't do
Tell
that.
me. Yeah.
Right.
So,
being
ignorant.
it's not being blinded by their power and their
Yeah.
influence.
Yeah.
It's still speaking out like, oh, that doesn't sound right. I love Erykah Badu down to the bone.
Love it too.
Yeah.
When she say some foolish
but
shit.
She said, when she said that, I shared like, no, Eric. I wasn't like, oh, I understand where hell no.
Yeah, it was
no.
It was real wild to
Right.
me.
And then she's singing, performing in a high school, and I'm like, no.
The next
be
day.
banned. Right. You should not be allowed in that space because I don't know what you're saying to these young people.
Can I ask you a question before we have about 3 or 4 minutes?
Yeah.
With that, and I had connected the two, and I said that earlier. And I wanted to ask you, since you're a professional, and I asked our friend that was on the show last week, was I crazy for making that connection?
No.
Because people were like, you are half-cocked, Keish.
No, not at all. Because what she's saying, like, what you're saying and what she said is like, oh, if you're standing there in a short skirt and a crop top, then yeah, you were asking for it.
Right.
That's rape culture bullshit, right? On fleek, real loud. So, and that's what she's saying. She was like, these young women need to like really cover themselves up and da-da-da because men are gonna, what?
And also, covering yourself didn't make no difference for these boys.
Right. It
that
doesn't
had
make
the problem.
any difference at all. I walk
Nobody
down the
said,
street all
oh,
the time
look at
in
those
sweatpants
jeans.
and in huge coats, and I'm still getting like street harassed. So what
Right.
are you even talking about? That's not the issue.
People that are going to attack you are going to attack you.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Attackers attack,
That's
thieves,
right.
murderers,
Right.
all those
They're
people,
coming for you.
they
They
come
don't
for
care
you.
what you're wearing.
No.
Yeah.
It's not about what you're wearing. And
You know
don't
what I
police
mean?
what I'm wearing. Don't police what little girls are wearing because then again, it's cyclical. It has them not want to come to you and talk about what they're experiencing,
Yeah.
who's touching them inappropriately.
Yeah.
Like, this just not, it's all really
Yeah.
bad.
I could wear a hoodie. I could
was-
wear a
it was
suit,
a lot.
you could still
Okay.
shoot me. Like,
Because I thought,
No,
you
it's
know,
totally connected. You're not
I
half-cocked.
felt real super crazy in that moment.
No.
Right.
You
That's
know?
people's resistance to challenging what she's saying.
Yeah.
Right.
'Cause
And the problematic, it's just problematic
Yeah.
what she said. It's
Yeah.
just layered.
I don't
Super
see
low.
how like that shit wouldn't kind of like make you go, huh?
Yeah.
Right.
What?
Right.
Oh, man.
Right. And she's just talking about girls. Oh, boys don't have to wear particular things.
Well, I mean, I guess like we said, we kind of agreed at the end of the day for us that she was projecting
drink.
something, right?
Yeah.
So she
Yeah, I
had to
mean,
keep
it's-
it
it's
in her
wild, son.
in her scope, right?
Right.
Her scope is seeing things through her woman eyes,
Right.
glasses, yeah.
Right.
But once again, and we talked about this when she said it, and then this shit that KRS said.
That was.
I think the first thing
Yeah.
that's troubling to me is because of the spirituality you speak of. None of that is totally contradictory. Your statements are contradictory to the things that you're saying in your human body. So I'm like, all right, you know what? I don't know what to say about them.
Yeah.
I'm going to just enjoy what I enjoy from them, and I have to just cut them off and not listen to them because they don't fucking make sense right now for me. You know, it's just, it's ridiculous, yo.
Well, you know what? And Anonymous 1317 said, no art or artist is beyond reproach. So there's that.
No human being.
No.
Right.
In our last 2 minutes, Erika, tell them where they could find you and follow you and keep up with you.
Well, you can find me on, it's Erika Hart. So it's Erika, ERICKAL.Hart. It's my like page on Facebook. You can follow me there. You can follow me on Instagram. It's iHeartErika, IHARTERICKA. Yeah.
All those places.
All those places.
Yes.
Follow.
Oh, girl, you need to be giving some talks.
Yeah.
See, she's like, yes.
Yeah, we're working on it.
Okay.
It's a hustle.
Yeah.
We do all the things.
We got
Sex
you.
educators.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I
It's
feel.
in the works.
I got your bio. I
got
was
my
like,
bio.
good child. Oh, she must be out here doing talks. Okay, because she's doing all the
They're
things,
in the
yo.
works. In the works.
Oh my gosh! Shout out to Dr. Postolot. He said, great show. You know, we got you. Does she need a social media magician? You know what?
Yes. Who is that?
Dr. Post-A-Lot.
Dr. Pulse a lot.
Post
I
a
like
lot,
that.
yes.
Post a lot.
Yes.
Not pulse. Sex
Well,
educators.
that's
nasty
right.
all the time.
Well, I'm into it. But
Post a lot. Hit me up.
hit her up, yo.
Yes.
Yo, you know what, guys? It's our time. Conscious. What's next?
Another show.
Another show. The liquidity. mix show.
TKintheAM. Well, I gotta
You
say,
gonna do
I
it?
gotta say goodbye and all that.
Okay.
Right? That's what we're
I'm
doing.
pointing at you.
All right. TKintheAM giving you 3 reasons to wake up Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Eastern. Only here on Bondfire Radio.
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 Get ready for the Liquidity Mix Show right here on Bonfire Radio.
Yes, y'all. Yo, we love you for listening. Thank you so much. Let's
We'll be
clap
back,
it up.
Ryan.
Let's leave on a clap up, yo. Listen for the replay at 7 p.m. Peace.